the ice. We'll have the latest from training camp, including some of the early defense pairings and line combinations, and the one Islanders player who will not be participating in training camp this year. And we'll talk about why. All that and more still to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. And I want to thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Islanders is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Islanders. We have got a lot to talk about on today's show. The players were back on the ice. Training camp is here. It is open, and it is an exciting time of year, especially for a team like the Islanders, who are truly expected to make another long playoff run. This Islanders team is looking like a contender, and anticipation to see if the Islanders final step and reach the Stanley Cup final for the first time since 1984. And we at Locked On Islanders will be with you every step of the way. We have got a lot to talk about since training camp has opened up. We have, news from training camp, including some of the defense pairings on the first day, which I think was interesting to see. And we also have the one Islanders player who will not be participating in training camp. We'll tell you why, really, what the situation is with that, plus a whole lot more. We've got our Islanders birthday of the day. And look, guess what? Rangers, and it is something I am certainly looking forward to, as the Islanders will be back on the ice against another team over the weekend. And of course, we'll have all of that on Monday's show and a whole lot more. If there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like us to talk about, feel free to email the show. The email address, as always, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, whatever it is that's on your. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On. And we'll keep you up to date on all the latest news from training camp, preseason games, concerning more New York Islanders until the regular season gets underway about 3.5 weeks. So exciting time, to say the least, and I am looking very much forward to discussing a lot of things. Let's get started with the one player and came in the Islanders organization camp roster to members of the media, and you start looking over the roster and you realize everybody who you expected to be on that roster is there except for one player. And you do a little process of elimination, you do a little research on social media, and you realize that the one player who is not in training camp is defenseman Bode Wilde, who essentially is not going to be in training camp. The Islanders team policy is that everybody has to be vaccinated in order to play. And it doesn't just, not just talking about players. We're talking coaches, we're talking about the training staff. Everybody needs to be vaccinated against COVID-19 in order to play. And apparently Bode Wilde has said that, he doesn't want to be vaccinated against COVID-19. And again, I don't want to get political here. That's not what I'm looking to do. But from an employer perspective, from the perspective of the New York Islanders, from the perspective of the National Hockey League, it does make sense to require that your employees, if they're going to work at a job like playing hockey, where social distancing is realistically impossible, where you're always going to be in contact not just with your mates, but with referees, with training staff, with opposing players and coaches from both teams. It is impossible to play hockey and travel and do the thing that professional NHL players do and maintain social distancing. So, look, Wild has spent the last 2 years with the Sound Tigers, now the Bridgeport Islanders. He's played 42 games over that 2-year period, 3 goals, 5 assists. Again, that's sort of a 2-year combined statistics. And look, the last 2 years for the AHL has been very difficult because you're talking about one season that was cut off in the middle, one season that was only, 24 games last year, and the Bridgeport Sound Tigers only played 2 teams, Providence Bruins, Hartford Wolfpack, and that was it for the whole season. So, the situation has not been normal, but at the end of the day, the 21-year-old vision. And look, he has to do what's good for him, but the Islanders also have to do what's best for the organization. And that means protecting as many people who work for the organization as possible. And that means that they need to require vaccination. The Lamoriello basically said that it's Wild's choice not to get the vaccine. He has every right to do that. And Lou Lamoriello has every right to say that you're free not to do it. We're not going to jeopardize the other players on the roster and the opponents, and there's a lot of money and a lot at stake. So at the end of the day, that's the decision that Lou Lamoriello, who is a team-oriented, team-first kind of a GM, that's his policy. So as of right now, the report is that the Islanders are looking for a place in Europe where Bodie Wild can play. And is this going to hurt his development? Is this going to hurt his standing within the organization? I would have to say, yeah, it probably is. And, people, is this controversial? Yeah, it certainly is. And, again, you're free to decline the vaccine, but there are consequences to that. And, you're not free to put other people in danger. It's a tough decision, and that's what the Islanders' policy is. And for Bodie Wild, he will not be in training camp. He'll be playing for the Islanders, and he will not be playing for Bridgeport either, because that is the Islanders' original policy. So we'll keep on that, see where in Europe, if anywhere, he's able to play, and how he does this season and beyond as the fallout from the COVID-19 continues to affect obviously only the world of hockey, but the country in general. We have got a lot more to talk about, and some of the players who sat out on the first day practice at Islanders training camp will head a little bit to the game against the Rangers. All that, a lot more still to come on this episode of the Islanders podcast. We have got a lot on today's show, and this show is brought to you by your friends at Online. We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for the start of another football season. And as always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this year. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, betonline.ag continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 100% welcome bonus. That's double your initial deposit just for signing up. Don't forget to use the promo code NFL100. From football, basketball, boxing, hockey, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. That's BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Today's episode is also brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar? You got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, watching sports highlights on your phone while you've got your neighbor's best friends log in for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and it's a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again, and the best part, there's no annual contract. Get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. So the Islanders were out there on the ice. And here are some of the things we saw. First off, let's talk about Adam Pelech going to be a top pair. That's the one pair, and Barry Trotz will split occasionally, move them around, but probably not your number pair. Second and third pairing is going to be, but yesterday, and is after Pelech and Pulak, Zdeno Chara, and Noah Dobson. Now, you could say that's the second pair. That's their pair. And look, even enjoy the season so well, but what I love about it, making to learn from Zdeno Chara, 4 years old. The guys who are the course, all of these played with Zdeno Chara and from him. The encouraging thing at training camp that even when they won and script whatever, you saw Dobson standing next to Chara and trying to get more information, and that's exactly what you want to see. Yeah, Zdeno plays a very Dobson. Noah Dobson is not going to learn how to rush the puck up the ice by watching Zdeno Chara. He's not going to learn how to make fancy plays, do panoramas. That's not it. But one that young defensemen need to learn, and it takes time. When do I pinch and when do I stay back? What game taking? Where do I go when this happens? Suppose here and my partner goes here, where do I go? Well, they're now in the NHL to learn things like that from then Zdeno Chara. And look, you've got Trotz Chara, who can really teach Dobson about how to take his game as an. I love this idea. Then you would have and Mayfield as the next pair, most likely. To me, I think this is the best way to go about it in order to maximize talent that you have on the blue line. That, to me, is not work out the way you want it to work out. It may, these two may not have any chemistry together at the end of the day. But I want to start, I would like to end up when the season gets underway if it works. A couple players also, well, three to be exact, not on the ice. And we talked about the fact that the Islanders would probably bring Matty Martin over the course of training camp. Lou Lamoriello, just a day of training camp, Martin had surgery to a bone spur, and that they were going to hold him out of contact. So I would rather have Matt Martin miss a little time in training camps in October, November, when they start to count, or more importantly, March, April, May, when it really, really matters, and hopefully even June on defense. Not on the ice. Samuel Bolduc, not on the ice. No word as to why. And then the other not on the ice, Varlamov, according to Barry Trotz, Varlamov, little soreness and being very cautious with him. Bolduc, again, also little soreness skating with his teammate last week, and worry about not a major injury or something that should be a long-term problem. But I like the idea of this team being more cautious with players. Bob is your starting goalie. Martin is part of the identity line. Bolduc, your types of prospects. I don't mind them missing a or five in late September when you shake and get acclimated with your taste and what have you. Then rather than missing later on. As far as line combination, Zach Parise, who and a free agent signing, he was out there on a line with J.G. Pajot and Dmytro Timashov for most of the first day of practice. And again, these lines and defense pairings are anything but fine. But the idea that Pajot and Parise were on the same line indicates that is exactly where they envision Zach Parise in this lineup. On the third line with J.G. Pajot. And then, have Palmieri or Wahlstrom as the favorite to plug in there. The one plug in the first line. That remains to be seen. As far as the top line, if you want to call it that, Matt Bartle on the ice, Anders Lee back out on the ice, and with them, Anatoly Golov. So that was the trio. Again, way too early and nothing final, but just gives you an idea of where the Islanders are preliminarily thinking. Anders Lee basically said he's ready to go after practice and doesn't seem to be feeling any effects from the injury. And Islander fans, that very, very good news. The Islanders so are very happy. Thanks again, Fun Islanders. Your first live day. We are still going to talk about our Islanders' birthday of the day. We're going to go back to the mid to late 80s for this one. A player who contributed a bit to the Islanders' success during that time. And, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the preseason opener against the New York Rangers. So lots more to get to right here on Islanders podcast. This show is to you by your friends at Built Bar. Do you know why Built Bar has so many delicious flavors? Well, there really is something for everyone. It's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And if you talk to a Built Bar fan, they really are passionate about their favorites. And here, listen to these flavors and you'll understand why. Coconut, mint brownie, orange, German chocolate, cookies and cream, salt caramel. That's my favorite because you got the sweet and the salty combined. It's a great combination. And if you haven't tried all the flavors, you could order a mixed box. They'll give you 2 of each of the 9 flavors so you can figure out which ones you like the best. And not only are Built Bars the best tasting protein bar, they're healthy as well. Check out this information. Each bar has 17 to 18 grams of protein, only 130 to 180 calories, just 5 grams of sugar, and 4 or 5 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy. And Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. Right, go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, and you'll get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And we want to wish a very happy 57th birthday. Birthday is actually Saturday for finger Dale Henry. Henry, a native of an 8th round pick of the Islanders back in 1983, made his Islanders debut during the 94-85 season and remained with the Islanders through 1989. Played 132 games in the NHL, all of them with the Isles. 13 goals, 39 points, 263 penalty minutes. Add 14 playoff games. He scored 1 goal in those games. And look, he went on to a lengthy minor league career, played minor league hockey from 1990 to 2001, 2002, even played in 1995 Coyotes of Roller Hockey International, where he had 33 points in 24 games. Later went on to coach in some of the minor leagues in the late 90s and early 2000s. Those guys who look around, go back and look at one of his memorable moments. March 9th, 1985 at the Nassau Coliseum. The Toronto Maple Leafs come to town to take on the Islanders, and it's Alan Bester getting the start for the Leafs. Billy Smith, the goalie for the New York Islanders, and the Islanders did not waste time, scoring just 22 seconds into this game. Thomas Janssen is 14th, the assist to Ken Morrow, and the Islanders had a 1-0 lead. They increased that lead a little more than 3 minutes later. Roger Kortko, his first from Bob Nystrom and Ken Morrow. Islanders 2, and the Leafs 0, 3 minutes and 34 seconds into the contest. Stu Gavin got Toronto on the board 7.5 minutes into the opening period. His 10th from Dan Dow, I love that name, made it 2-1. Then our Islander birthday of the day, Dale Henry, his first goal of the season, in fact, his first career NHL goal. Roger Kortko and Ken Morrow assist, 3 assists already for Ken Morrow in the game. Time of the goal, 15:46, and the Islanders led 3-1 after 20 minutes. The second period was scoreless, but in the third, Toronto pulled it within a goal. Bill Derlago, his 22nd from Rick Vave and John Anderson at 7:21, and the Islanders clinging with 3-2 lead. But late in the game, the Maple Leafs pull their goaltender, and after 2 goals, Ken Reggett replaced Alan Bester. Reggett comes to the bench. Antonelli pops home an empty netter. His 36. Dennis Potvin with the assist. Final score, Islanders 4 and the Maple Leafs 2. For Dale Henry, our Islanders birthday of the day, 1 goal. He was the game-winning goal, and he had 2 shots on goal. Not only was it the game winner, it was his first, as I mentioned, career NHL goal. Big game for Billy Smith. 39 saves to earn the win. The Islanders were outshot 41-35. Mike Bossy led the Islanders with 7 shots on goal in this one. And as I mentioned, Ken Morrow had assists on 3. The Islanders 4 goals. So, 57th birthday to Dale Henry, an 8th round pick who made the NHL and stuck around for about 6. Really played more than 40 games in a year. Never established himself as a full-time NHLer, but productive in the minors. A physical hockey player when he wanted to be and needed to be, and a course of his career. So we wish Dale Henry all the best of this occasion. At Madison Square Garden, Islanders and Rangers kicking off the pre-night for one. Very much looking forward to watching the game and analysis with some key takeaways from that game. And it basically told us about things. And we'll also be doing a crosser show with our friends at Locked On Flyers, as the Islanders' next preseason game after that is against Philadelphia. So thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We will be back with you on Monday morning to take a look at the preseason game and do a nice crossover show with our friends at Locked On Flyers. So lots to look forward to over the weekend. And hey, hockey is back. And I don't know what could be better than that. I am so excited for the start of this Islanders season. And betting on the Islanders doesn't have to be a guessing game. When you listen to the Locked On Bets podcast, it's hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. And look, they will help you with any sports wagering you may have. You're going to have all kinds of information and promotions, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day, wrong team favored picks, all kinds of things to help you make the most of your sports wagering. So listen to the Locked On Bets podcast wherever you get podcasts. It is sponsored by BetOnline.ag. That's going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Stay safe, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Islanders hockey is back. And of course, let's go Islanders.